Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video I'll be sharing with you all the books that I plan on reading in the month of March. So March is going to be a crazy month for me. In the beginning of the month I'm at a conference, and at the end of the month I'm going on a long weekend vacation with my boyfriend's family, and in between all that I have to kind of finalize my dissertation and get that all sorted out. So my dissertation is April 14th, so we are vastly approaching that date, and I feel like I don't know if reading will be my outlet or I will just be too tired to read. So I could be overshooting, or this could just be my stress relief method. So I kind of have 6 books here for you. 2 of them I want to listen to via audiobooks, so I think that will be kind of, make it a little bit feasible. But I am doing a bit of traveling, so maybe these books will, keep me company and entertained for the flights. And they're all over in terms of genre too, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So to start, this is the book that I'm currently listening to via audiobook, and it is And There Was Light by John Meacham, and this is basically a biography of Abraham Lincoln. And growing, I'm originally from Canada, but I did grades I want to say grades 6 through 11 in Illinois, and from there in middle school you do a unit on Abraham Lincoln. You learn all about the Civil War, and then you take a trip to Springfield where you can go visit his house and the museum there. So when I was around 10 or 11, I was really into Abraham Lincoln. I found that era of American history just to be so interesting. So I think even today I do find Civil War era history to be so interesting, especially Abraham Lincoln. And I've never, besides the one book that they had us read, textbook they had us read on Abraham Lincoln, I haven't really read a biography about him, and this is one that has come out and I've heard really great things about it. And I found now that I do enjoy nonfiction as audiobooks, and I think just driving between school and home and my boyfriend's house, it's kind of good to kind of break up the music all the time. So I find this is something that's been keeping me engaged, and it's just really interesting. Like I said, I think Abraham Lincoln from a historical standpoint is very interesting. So the grade 7 Lexie is very much having the best time of her life listening to this audiobook. And lastly, this is another audiobook that I have on hold at the library, but I do have a physical copy here. I'm still waiting for it, and it is Hood Feminism by Mikki Kendall. This is a book that I've had on hold probably the longest out of all the ones that I've requested. So I think this is a very popular book. My sister has read this too, and it talks about how today's feminist movement has essentially a blind spot for people of color, or Black people in particular, and how it's mostly focused on white women feminism and equality for white women. And it kind of leaves behind a lot of the, other people with, different skin tones. And this kind of explores different aspects of how it kind of finds itself, where we kind of have that kind of paradox white's kind of blind spot for people of color. And I just think this one sounds interesting. Like I said, based on all the holds on the library, I can tell this is a very popular book. So it talks about different things here: gun violence, hunger, the patriarchy, eating disorders, mystery and murder, poverty and politics, education, all these things. And I think this will be really interesting. Like I said, especially kind of with February being Black History Month, I listened to so many audiobooks talking about race and racism in America, and I feel so much more enlightened. And I feel like this will also kind of help me kind of visualize kind of how we can make feminism more inclusive for everyone. So continuing on with my Emily Henry kind of marathon to get caught up with all of her books, the next book I need to read is Book Lovers. And this one is, it says, Nora's life is books. She reads them all, and she is not that type of heroine. Not the plucky one, and not the laid-back dream girl, and especially not the sweetheart. In fact, the only people Nora is a heroine for are her clients, for whom she lands enormous deals as a cutthroat literary agent, and her beloved little sister Libby, which is why she agrees to go to Sunshine Falls, North Carolina for a month of August, when Libby begs her for a sister's trip away, with visions of a small town transformation for Nora, who she's convinced needs to become the heroine of her own story. But instead of picnics and meadows or run-ins with a handsome county doctor or bulging forearm bartender, Nora keeps bumping into Charlie, a bookish, brooding editor from back in the city. It would be a meet cute if not for the fact that they've met many times and it's never been cute. And so, like I said, I've been kind of just continuing on with these. I think they're just kind of light, fluffy reads. Like, I don't feel like I need to invest a lot when I read these, and I read them relatively quickly too. I haven't enjoyed beach read as much as people meet on vacation, so I've heard Leonie from the book Leo say this one is her favorite out of the 3 Emily Henry books thus far. So I have higher hopes for this one because, like I said, beach read was okay, but I'm thinking maybe I would like this one a little bit more. Next up, I have Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second book in the 9th House series, and I'm really excited to pick this one up. I'm definitely going to have to read a summary of the first book because I feel like it was right before I started taking notes of books that I read, and so I remember bits and pieces, but like minor things I don't remember, and I think this one definitely needs a refresher. But it follows a girl named Alex who is recruited to Yale to essentially be a part of 9th House, which is the house that oversees all of the occult groups within the university, and it kind of goes off from there. I think it's best not really to know too much about this, and especially because this is the second book, I don't want to spoil the synopsis of this one for you. I've heard this one, again, is very much a slow burn like 9th House is, but a lot of people seem to really enjoy it, and I do kind of love the dark academia, modern day university setting with the occult kind of in the background. I think that is a very interesting, like, I do find that a very interesting kind of trope to explore, but I am excited. Like I said, I don't remember a lot, so I'm gonna have to read a summary of this one, but yeah, I thought, like, I don't know if this will be like I have to like read this after my dissertation defense, but I decided to include this in the month because I keep eyeing it on my shelves and I definitely want to pick it up soon. Next up, I have Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. I think this one would be a good one to read towards the end of March, especially when I'm going on like a long weekend vacation with my boyfriend's family and kind of leading up to my dissertation defense. I think this is going to just be an easier, lighter read, but I've heard great things about this. This book has been like crushing the like book list. It's like on the top of everything, so I'm very excited to see how I feel about this one. So the premise is that it says chemist Elizabeth Zott is not your average woman. In fact, Elizabeth would be the first to point out that there is no such thing as an average woman. But it's the early 1960s, and our all-male team at Hastings Research Institute takes a very unscientific view of equality, except for one, Kelvin Evans, the lonely, brilliant Nobel Prize nominated grudge holder who falls in love with, of all things, her mind. True chemistry results. Like science, though, life is unpredictable, which is why a few years later, Elizabeth finds herself not only a single mother, but also the reluctant star of America's most beloved cooking show, Supper at 6. Elizabeth's unusual approach to cooking proves revolutionary, but as her following grows, not everyone is happy, because as it turns out, Elizabeth isn't just teaching women to cook, she's daring them to change the status quo. So like I said, I've heard really great things about this one, and it just seems like just a fun like book to read, especially to explore women's roles, especially in the 1960s. I think that would be really exciting, especially from like a scientist point of view. I just think that sounds super interesting and just a lot of fun. Like I said, I've heard great things about this one, so my hopes are high on this one. And lastly, this is a book that I'm really excited about, and I feel like it kind of goes with like the wet March spring weather, and it is The Lost Girls of Willowbrook by Ellen Marie Wiseman. And I love Ellen Marie Wiseman. I've read a lot of her books and I just have really enjoyed them, so I'm really excited to see how I feel about this one, and it just sounds super intriguing. But it is about a girl who has a twin, and that she was told her twin died from pneumonia, but she finds out several years later that in fact her sister is alive. She was just sent to an insane asylum, and when her sister escapes from the insane asylum, she goes to kind of see what is going on, but she gets mistaken for her twin sister, and it kind of goes off from there. And I think that's such an interesting like thing to explore, being confused as your twin and then getting stuck in a insane asylum, I think would it just sounds like a very interesting plot and something that's already giving me anxiety thinking about it. But it just seems like it will be really interesting, and I think especially exploring like mental institutions during kind of this era. It seems like it's kind of in, you know, the later half of the 20th century. I think that will make it seem just really interesting. And I remember learning about mental institutions in some of my anthropology classes and just how terrible they were. And she has What She Left Behind too, which Ellen Marie Wiseman wrote, that kind of deals with this kind of institutional setting. And so I'm very curious to see how this one works out. And I do love stories between sisters. I always am a sucker for those. But yeah, this one just seems like a lot of fun, like a very kind of different historical fiction, so I am excited. Oh, it takes place in the 70s, so I was close. But yeah, I'm just excited. This seems just really totally up my alley, and like I said, I haven't been reading a lot of historical fiction lately, so I'm hoping this can kind of kickstart me into this genre again. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what books you plan on reading this month and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.